This is a story you do not want to miss. It is such a unique one, and but most importantly, it is a story of hope. Now, you who thinks the world is unfair to you, listen to Esther's story. Esther, we are back, and before the break, you had told us that much as the commitment Mr. Musoke had left home was making sure that you finish your education, you go for further education. This is now a bonus.
Yes. So as I progressed with my career, it became necessary that I had to do a master's degree. So this was sponsored by my organization.
Oh.
Yeah. So I had to do a specialization. My work was legal drafting. We draft the laws of Uganda. So I needed to pursue further studies for this specialization. So I was sponsored, and I did this from the University of London. So I had to go away.
To London.
To London.
Hey.
So I left my husband behind. I left him with the children to take that responsibility. So it was a 1-year course. I didn't stay there for the whole year.
Hey.
In between, I kept coming on the sponsorship of my husband.
Coming and going back.
Yes,
Okay.
because what I received from my organization was 1 ticket to take me and 1 ticket
To come
to
back
come back
after the course.
after the course. But I had to come in, check on the family. Yeah, so it was very difficult. Why? When I left, my youngest was about 3 years. He was still
Very
young. And he had joined kindergarten. I had just been there for maybe 2 months, and he got an accident at school.
Oh no.
He fell down. He lost his front teeth. I am in London. I get this news. I'm like, why am I even here? Why am I even here? But he was taken care of. He was taken to hospital. He was worked on, but of course he lost those teeth, and he had to wait until when the time for them
The
would have
permanent
come
teeth.
to cover
Oh.
and for the permanent ones to come. So yeah, that is one incident that happened while I was away. But of course, it did not derail me. I pursued my studies. I have been, throughout my life, a hard-working person. And when I put my hands to pursue something, I must achieve it. You can see how I insisted.
Sure.
I would have dropped off maybe
Exactly.
at when I became pregnant at
the first
university,
time.
but I continued. I persisted, and so even this very time, of course, a few things happened. Even while undertaking that master's degree, I lost my mother-in-law, the mother to
Mr. Musoke.
Mr. Musoke, and you know how it can be difficult.
Yeah.
The person that he needed most to comfort him
Was you
was
who is
not-
in London.
Yes, but we managed to go through all those. Again, I completed that master's degree, graduated, came back, and that also contributed to the growth that I attained in the organization. Hard work, training, all those things added to my growth in the organization that I was working.
Okay. Now, there is there are a lot of things that we are really learning from you, and I believe this is an inspirational story. But all this life, let us talk about your Christian life. You know, back in Kanungu, there are very many reports about you written in the church, about the works you do in church. Someone really want to see to hear about your Christian life.
Okay. Like I mentioned at the start of this story,
Yes.
I was born in a Christian family.
Yes.
Especially my grandparents. They were not reverends, they were not lay readers, they were not in the mainstream church ministry, but they were evangelists. My grandfather, he preached to people. So because of that, I grew up. I grew up in a Christian family. I grew up knowing that there's a God who makes things happen. Things don't happen because of me, but there's a supernatural being. So I grew up in church, and I remember it was about P5. So we used to have these maybe I should say a crusade. Yeah, we call it in vernacular etterani, where people gather. It's not a Sunday, it's any other day. There's a lot of preaching, there's a lot of praising, there's a lot of testimonies, so many things happening. So there was that gathering. I think it must have been about P5. And so there was preaching, there was praising and worshiping. There was a lot of things happening. And the preacher called on people who wanted to give their lives to Jesus, those who wanted to follow Jesus. And how could I stay behind after seeing my grandparents, my mother especially? Remember I told you about my father?
Yes.
He is a Christian, but he wasn't that devoted like my grandparents and my mother. So I went to the front. I was among the people who took Jesus as their personal savior.
Wow.
And I liked church. I liked working for the church. We would go sweep the church, make sure that the church is in order for service. So I did all those things, and also the confirmation classes. We would go to church. We would dig around the church, clear the bushes. So I was so much involved in church, and I liked reading the Bible, and I knew how to read the Bible, even in church. And I think this contributes to my dream of reading the news. I liked reading, and so they would give me chapters to read for the church. And I was young, very small. I couldn't even get to the pulpit.
Yes.
But I read in church, and people were amazed at how a young child can read so well the Bible. So I grew up like that in church, and lucky enough, I also found Mr. Msoke rooted in church. So we combined our efforts, and we have been servants of God. We have served not as reverends, not as what, but in our own means. And that's why you see that there are writings on me about God's work, because of service, and because of how God has been faithful to us, how we have progressed. My career, my family, our businesses, all progressing well. We give back. Giving back is one thing as a family that we have put our foundation onto. We give back, constructing a church in Kanungu,
Yes.
Cheshero Parish at Kakureju is one of the things that we have done as a way of giving back, as a way of thanking God. So, but before that church, we have been contributing in construction of Sunday schools. My husband likes so much children. He likes Sunday school. Even when we are in church, he opts to go and sit with the children. So we have done about 3 Sunday schools in Namirembe diocese, because this is our diocese. So we have done Sunday schools. We have built Sunday schools in 3 churches. And so this time we built a whole church.
A state-of-art church. We need to add that on. A church in the village with a town plan, a city plan.
Yes, and why did we do this?
Yes.
When Mr. Msoke when we were dating, he visited Kanungu. He visited my home at the very, very beginning, the first days of our meeting. He came to my home. And remember, I told you about how impossible, how difficult it was to get to Kanungu or to come to Kampala. But he found his way and came to Kanungu.
Wow.
I don't know how he moved. There was no straight bus to Kanungu. There was no planes like it is today. Mode of transport was pickups.
But whichever transport he used, he's in Kanungu.
He's in Kanungu. And remember, there are no mobile phones.
Yes.
That he's going to call and ask for directions. There are no mobile phones that he's going to call me and tell me, please prepare for me, I am coming. No. All of a sudden, we see people, 2 people. One is a resident, another one is a visitor. And the resident is like, I have brought you a visitor. I met this person and he was asking for directions to Mr. Kanyarharo's home. And here he is.
Well, this is so interesting, and we want to look at...
Can I just add something
onto
that?
Please add.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you the background of the church.
Yes.
So he
it's
comes.
Actually important.
He comes. Of course, my parents are shocked. My parents have heard about him. This would best fit in the story of how we met. At first, he's seen as a neighbor. Yeah, in Kampala.
Yeah.
Nothing beyond that. He's a neighbor. And he's a businessman. So he has come to Kanungu because he has heard there are business opportunities in Kanungu. So he's exploring business opportunities.
Okay.
He has not come to visit me.
Yes.
He knows me. He's a neighbor in Kampala. He's a businessman. He's exploring business opportunities.
Mr. Musoke is a okay.
So he meets my grandfather. They sit together, they chat, they read the Bible, they pray together. The following day, Mr. Musoke goes back to
Just
Kampala.
like that?
Just like that.
Okay.
He goes. But because of that, he was very, very much amazed by my grandfather. in his old age, knowing God, reading the Bible. And so he got to know that there is land that was offered by my grandfather as a place of worship. And so he's interested and he's like, we must put a church in honor, in remembrance of Muzei Richard Ingabo Isonga. And so that is the church in Kakurejo.
Wow. So all those who were asking how did that church come about, now they have the answer.
Yes.
So in all this that you've gone through, actually we stopped at retirement. So what are you doing after retiring from the other organization?
Maybe before I go to retirement, I need to mention one thing. I will keep saying that my education was not a straight path.
Yes.
My mother, like I mentioned before, had daughters, 5 daughters, 1 son, and so she had to make sure that the daughters do not go to waste. She had to make sure that these daughters come out as responsible women, God-fearing, and so she taught us a lot. She taught us how to love God, but she also taught us how to work. I did all sorts of things as I grew up. My mother did different things to ensure that she raises some money that can take us through education, of course, alongside my father. But my mother did different things, but at home, back home, we have what is called a day that is called the market day. It is always there on Thursday. It's a market day. It's different from when I came to Kampala. It's like every day.
It's a market day.
It's a market day. But back home, we have a day that is a market day. So on that day, my mother had a stall in the market and should put a restaurant and cook food. Because when people go to the market, it's as a way, or it's a day that people go out, either to shop or to sell or to enjoy their money. So somebody will not hesitate to go in a restaurant and order for chicken on that day. So the day that would not be in school, we went with our mother on that day and we worked in the restaurant, be it cooking, be it serving, be it washing the dishes. So we did that. On other days, weekends or holidays, I mentioned to you that my father was an agriculturist.
Yes.
So he...
By the way, you told us that his name is Everyday, but you didn't tell us why everybody, but you didn't tell us why he's everybody.
Everybody work together is his slogan of making sure that people work together. He is a unifier. And because of that, they know him as everybody. But he's a farmer who had this very big interest in farming. He is known for growing passion fruits in Kanungu. And because of the passion fruit farming, he was even recognized by the president, His Excellency.
Wow.
Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Wow.
Recognized
Such
him,
a serious farmer.
and even gave him a vehicle, a truck, to transport his passion fruits and bring them to where the market is. So he was recognized for that. He did passion fruits, he did tomatoes, he did many things. And as he's doing this, we are involved. If it means to go to the garden to dig, I did all this. I know how to dig, I know how to plant, I know how to harvest, and I know how to go to the market to sell the produce.
Mm.
Yeah, so I went through all this. Yeah, so it has given me a sense of hard working, and I have also seen that hard work pays. And I also met a man who is equally a hard-working man. So I just wanted to bring that
Yes.
that aspect, so that people should be encouraged
Yes.
that if you are out there digging, selling things in the market, it is not the end of your life. You can still make it in life. So I needed to give that background.
Sure.
But now I have served government 22 years. In 2022, towards the end, I received I got a job offer.
Yeah.
Because as I told you, at Uganda Rural Reform Commission, I became a commissioner,
Yes.
head of department, and that was like a ceiling. And for me, I didn't stay in one position for a long time. I kept growing. And because of this, now I start looking out the organization. How can I better myself? Am I going to be here and stagnate? What next? So I start applying for other jobs in different places within Uganda, in East Africa, and also at the international level. So I got calls for interviews. I did interviews. Some I didn't get the jobs, but now there's this one interview that I did, which I did online, and I got a job offer. And this was a job offer by the American government. Yes.
Government.
Hey. Yes. American government was offering support to a country called Belize. Belize is in Central America, but they needed to hire someone to take there and do a job of legal drafting, a job which I was already doing in Uganda. So I got this job offer. I had to resign from Uganda Law Reform Commission, having served diligently, having worked well at the commission, and so I got this job offer. But before I got the job offer, I need to bring out something unique that happened. 22 years is a long time in an organization. So there were ups and downs. It wasn't a bed of roses. There were always issues, and like I told you, for me, once given an assignment, I have to make sure that the assignment is done. And because of this, I was liked by my supervisors. And so even when a promotion came, I was considered for a promotion, because these were internal promotions. Yeah. But of course, because of that, there was some bad blood in the organization. This can bring about hate. It can bring about intrigue. It can bring about all sorts of things. So at the commission, that was also there. During my work life, it was also there. There are people who are not happy with me, people who didn't like the way I was progressing, and so there were even malicious accusations about me and some other colleagues, but all this was cleared because it was not true. So, but I managed to go through that, and so I get this other job. It is in Belize. So I went in last year, early last year.
Oh, you go in 2023?
2023.
Okay.
Early. I stopped working with the commission effective end of Feb last year. So 1st March, I start a new job. I did that job, but of course it had its own challenges. It is very far away from home. It became lonely. I was living in the house alone. You go out, you come back, nobody to talk to, you go to sleep. I was always on the phone with Mr. Msoke. The time difference was huge. When it is day here, it is night there, so it was not easy. Yeah, but of course at this time my boys are big. They are grown-ups. The young one is making 18 next month.
Wow.
The 3 are in USA. It looked as though it was going to be easy because I'm near to them, but it wasn't easy. So we decided that I should come back as a family.
You leave the job, come back.
I find a way of doing the job, but when I am not, if it is possible. If it is not possible, I leave the job. But I negotiated with my employers. I actually left the job. I left the job. I came back because I realized there were other things that I could do for my country. We not necessarily going away. So I came back, but I continued working with my employers, and we agreed that I work online, and we agreed that I can do contractual terms, short jobs. If they have a job and they want me to do something for them, they can call on me, and I do the work for them. So that is what I'm doing. But what else am I doing?
Yes.
Because I have acquired all this knowledge, and I think I still have more years to offer service. I did not just sit down
To wait for the contracts.
Of course, I am still doing business with my husband as a family. We do businesses. We are currently engaged in a tire business. We do sell tires. We have a shop that sells tires in Deba. We also into accommodation. We have rentals. We into construction. So all these things they can take my time, but I also need to do the technical bit, offer legal services. So I have registered a consultancy firm that offers legal services to whoever is in need. Especially, I am working with investors. I have people who come in who want to invest in Uganda. I offer technical and legal services to them, and any other person who may need services. So I've registered this consultancy, and this is where we are. This is my office, and so I am doing this currently.
Okay. Lastly, where do you see yourself in the coming years with all this that you've done, and with the service and commitment you have to come back and serve your country?
Okay. So, going back to my early years, of course I studied, and having come from a remote place and having competed with girls that came from good schools, from Gayaza, Namagunga, we all met at Makerere, competed, and I came out as good as them. And so back home, people look at me as someone who has made it. Being a girl, going through education, going through service, and they feel that there's something that I can offer. And so some people approached me and they're like, but why don't you come and serve your district? We see that you can be a leader in Kanungu. We see that you have the potential. But before I would tell them that I'm building a family, I'm building my career, I will not do a good job, it is not yet time. But so they kept on asking. And so this time when they asked, I looked at myself and I felt I was ready.
Wow. Ready to serve Kanungu.
I feel I'm ready to serve Kanungu. Why? I feel I have acquired enough experience. I feel I have acquired enough exposure, both in Kampala, East Africa, and at the international level. I also feel I have acquired what I may call social capital. I have people, I have friends, I have connections who I can use and ensure that there is service delivery.
So you have the Gamba no booze.
I don't want to call them Gamba groups, but I want to call them networks.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I want to call them networks, who are those people that open doors, open windows.
Yes.
Yeah. I have colleagues. I have worked with so many people. I have worked with ministries, departments, while drafting for them these laws.
Yes.
So I feel that I can use this opportunity. I can use these people to ensure that there's service delivery in Kanungu. Not to say that there hasn't been, no, but I feel that I can add value onto what is already there. And so I have intentions to go and contest for Woman MP, Kanungu District.
People of Kanungu, we are giving you the best.
And if the people accept me and vote for me, I will serve.
How I wish God opens their eyes to know the person God has sent to them.
And it is really a calling, I should say, because I'm not going there to start my life there. No. I'm not going there to build a house. I already have a home. I'm not going there to look for money to take my children to school. No. 3 of my boys, 2 have completed. They are working. 1 is actually married. I have a daughter-in-law.
Yes. Soon.
I'm waiting for grandchildren. And 1 is in university, 1 is finishing S6. Has gone to S6 this year. So I'm not looking for money to take children to school. I'm not looking for money to build a home. I am after service delivery.
People of Kanungu, you have the choices in your hands. We are giving you the best that everyone would really want to have. But the choice is Kanungu. So back home, you want to serve back home. As we wind up this conversation, Esther, what are some of the life lessons your life story has taught you? Probably that will be the center of inspiration for someone watching us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Listening to my story, I believe there is a lot to learn from my story. 1, I want to encourage girls that whatever it is, if you're determined, you can make it in life. It is determination that has made me get to where I am. So I do not want anyone out there to lose hope. Maybe you have become pregnant, not at the right time, and you give up. Don't give up. There is hope. There is light. at the end of the tunnel. So I want to encourage someone out there that do not give up. The other thing I want people to learn from my story, I mentioned to you that my husband does not have the formal education that I do have. But this has not stopped us, the two of us. He is not threatened, and I am also not scared or discouraged. We are a happy family despite the differences in our levels of education. What I should mention, that when I became pregnant and people asked, who is this? They distanced themselves. Even when I got married, in my work life, being a lawyer that I am, people look at it as if it is not normal. You are a lawyer, he's a businessman. Okay, you can be a businessman, but when you have done with a profession. But this is with no formal education. People cannot imagine such a situation.
The two don't really tally.
They don't. But ours has worked for us. And why? It is because each one of us has taken their position. The position that is God-given. He is the head of the family, and he has taken his position, and he has done his role as the head of the family.
Esther at home is a wife, not a lawyer.
Yes, you have said it.
In just a minute, as we wind up, Les, kindly give us your parting shots.
Yes, so I really want to encourage everyone watching this show that do not be discouraged by anything. If you're determined to do something, you do it. Let nothing discourage you. Maybe I would have been discouraged by saying, oh, I should have married a fellow lawyer. Maybe this would have been a better choice. But God has plans for us, and God has good plans for us. I believe that God has a good plan for me, and God has already shown that it was a good plan.
And a good choice. Thank you so much, Esther. And what else can we say? All said and all shared. From the entire team, Brinko, Norman, Mumuza, Colin, it's a good evening. We meet again next Sunday, same time.